team. Congratulations.
Yeah, huge win, big win, absolutely. That is an outstanding team, again, in every phase. And we got off to a really good start, I thought, complementing each phase, offensively, defensively, and in special teams, and then did the exact opposite in the second quarter and kind of fell behind. And our guys at halftime were awesome. It was neat to see our young guys didn't blink. Again, made the corrections. A lot of the stuff that we did in the first half, we did in the second half, just better. Ran to the ball better, got pressure on the passer better. He did a great job, Connor Cook, unbelievable in the first half. I don't know what the third down situation was, but it was ugly. But now, we have to go back to work and get ready for next week.
Field position was such a big part of this game, too. Yeah. You guys had great field position to get your points and some big plays, and then all of a sudden it flipped the other way. Field position and momentum, funny things in this game, aren't they?
Funny how they affect young adult males, yeah. No, our special teams, again, we broke down in every phase, and special teams was one of those, along with the offense, to create a really short field for our defense that time in the second quarter. And then, again, just did the exact opposite in the second half. Did a great job in the return game for the most part. Could have had a couple big ones. Efo tried to shake the punter after, instead of shaking the offensive lineman there on that first one. We thought we had something pretty well dialed up for him. But again, just very, very happy and proud of our guys and their overall effort. I thought our staff did a great job all week of getting our guys ready.
I thought you talked about it here just a little bit earlier, and that is that your team didn't panic, even with Michigan State coming out and getting the initial score in the second half to go up by 9, 27-18. You guys scored the next 28 points. A key play, and it's tough to look at plays as the play that really changed things, but Marcus's escape and pitch forward to Royce Freeman, it just jump-started everything.
Right, unbelievable. And Marcus and I were just in there hugging and talking, and I should pay to have to watch that guy play. I mean, it's just unbelievable to be able to watch him train, to watch him prepare, and then to see him, come to fruition on in this game was big. And we obviously think very highly of Marcus.
You fed off of it, offensively and defensively after that. Got the scores, kept the momentum going. Third quarter stats. Here's a stat, 140-40 in yardage is what that third quarter was. The defense fed off of that play, too.
Yeah, the defense played tremendously well in the second half and just settled down. We had a couple guys jumping out of gaps, a couple missed tackles, a couple opportunities to make picks that we didn't make, and just kept battling. That's against a team like that, there's going to be some ebb and flow. We knew that going in offensively. We're going to take some shots, we're going to make some, and it's going to be ugly sometimes. But our guys kept battling. Tyrell in there against one of the best defensive ends in the country, and he just kept battling.
The depth on your team got tested today. You just talked about Tyrell and then those 2 touchdown runs by Royce Freeman to his side on that right-hand side. And I know it's not all him, but great blocking out there. Your defensive depth got tested today too, but boy, you guys really held up under the heat.
Yeah, and we talked about that all week as an advantage for us. We thought that would come to fruition in the end, and we would have liked it to be a little bit cleaner up to that point. But again, in that type of game, it's not going to be 42-3.
And you talk about the finish: 11 plays, 96 yards, 6:31, bleed the clock, 4th and 2. After they jumped off sides, made a tough decision, and it paid off.
Yeah, I was actually debating that the play before as to whether we should just go for it and not take any chance at all of having an issue in the kicking game. And when we got that penalty, that was an easy decision. Our guys executed that very, very well. Farrell Brown did a great job on the edge, and obviously Tyrell pulling and Royce kind of doing the rest.
Joe Walker and Troy Hill. Those guys both 9 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss by Joe Walker. In the backfield making some big plays. You had some guys really step forward today.
No question. And again, I think, credit to Don Pelham and the defensive staff for rallying those guys in the second half. Because, again, those guys were really good. And, we knew that Connor Cook made them more balanced and versatile as far as their attack went. But just proud of just the total team effort.
This isn't a question whether it was the right call or the wrong call, so I just want to make sure you understand that. But could you give us a little bit of an idea of the rule in relation to punt return and how that works?
I can't.
Okay. I just
every rule interpretation I have is obviously not correct.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask that question in that way. That helped out too. So one more thing, special teams. You talked about it solid. Charles Nelson. I'll tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
He is down there. I cannot believe it.
Stud, absolute stud. I mean, that guy. The first live contact drill we did in fall camp was a special teams drill, and he just had some stone cold hits at full speed, very similar to that. I mean, it was a what we call a tube drill, where a guy's covering a kick, very similar to the play he made today, and it looked exactly like that. The first day of full contact, and everybody kind of looked at each other like, did that just happen? And the guy just is great on and off the field, really sharp guy, and is going to be a great player for us down the road in all aspects.
Well, you get a chance to enjoy this one, but not for long. Wyoming comes to town, 11 a.m. game, a little bit odd time of start, but it's another challenge, and that is putting this one behind and making sure you prepare for the next team.
Absolutely. I said that, before this game, whoever won this game and whoever lost this game has to flip it and rally. And there, it's a huge win. It's a great win. It's a great team win, but it's win number 2.
All right, Coach. Well, win number 2, 2-0. Big win over Michigan State today, 46-27. Congratulations again. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right, Jerry, back up to you.
All right, questions for Coach. Again, a reminder, he will be available tomorrow, too. So, Jason.
Coach, you said you liked what you saw at halftime. Can you describe more what you saw and heard from the guys?
Everybody's eyes up, looking at each other, communicating well. Nobody was pouting and finger pointing. And the second quarter was kind of I don't want to say an implosion, but we had some breakdowns in each phase individually that collectively resulted in the halftime score. And our guys did a great job, and our coaches did a great job of, here's what happened, here's how to fix it, let's go.
You had 20 minutes or so where you were pretty clunky on offense. What's going on there versus when you're humming and scoring?
First of all, again, they're excellent. They're an outstanding defense, and give them a ton of credit for that. We had some communication breakdowns in the protection aspect of it, protection element of it, and both in the I would say it's always a combination of factors, but breakdowns in protection, breakdowns in communication, and them being really good.
Their defense obviously made it very difficult for Marcus at times. He had to pull the ball down, find ways to make plays. How hard was it, and then what did he do to be able to make those kind of things happen?
Genetics. And it's the guy, you have to ask Toa and Elena Mariota the answer to that question. But the guy's just special. I mean, he's awesome. He's in there talking about what he could have done differently and done better. He going into this game, we knew that a lot of it was going to be on him, just how they play. That a lot of it's effectively zero coverage, bring it defense. And there's times when the quarterback has to be the guy to make those plays. There was one time where he just got tripped up through the hole, and if he gets through there, it's an 80-yard touchdown, untouched. But it's a sack for -4 yards. So that's kind of, we knew that we were going to have to take some shots and take a few body blows and weather it.
Hey, Mark, like you talked about, Connor was sort of having his way with your defense there for a while, and I think they scored on 5 possessions in a row going to the third after the field goal. Your defense looked like they came off the edge a lot better after that, and then just were stout up front. Was it that simple adjustment of just trying to get some speed to the quarterback?
Combination of factors. I think the coverage we changed up a few things coverage-wise, and Coach Pellman did a great job again at halftime of just communicating the route combinations. But yeah, they were basically max protecting and running either single cuts or 2-man cuts that if you max protect like that and we're rushing 3 or 4, those aren't good numbers. And so getting on edges, changing up coverages a little bit was the key to success.
You talked about your players. At halftime, you liked what you saw from them, what your coaches said, but your halftime speech must have been pretty good. What did you say?
Gettysburg Address, esque. No, I think a ton of credit again has to go to our offensive staff, our defensive staff, Tom Osborne and special teams, and just our young guys believing. We have so many young guys on our team that haven't been in that situation, haven't had a ton of competitive quote unquote adversity, 1-score games adversity around here, and just to see them weather that, to see those guys lead them through that, very proud of that.
Okay, you're down 27-18 coming out of the second half. Offense pretty anemic. What were you thinking, 27-18? I mean, the defense had to do something or this game was going to get out of hand, wasn't it?
Well, everybody had to do something. Yeah, we had a couple things again dialed up that we thought had a chance early, and we needed to execute better. We knew going in. I mean, look at the first 2 out of the first 3 plays of the game. Just catch the ball. Just execute, throw and catch, get our guys in space. We knew that was the key to the game, and it broke down. So that's punt it and rally.
Mark, you've been looking for a wide receiver to step up other than Keenan Allen. I mean, watching Devin Allen, what he did today, I mean, is it safe to say that he's solidified his role as kind of a leader on that wide receiver floor?
Devin Allen's a stud, no question. Keenan Lowe, it's Keenan Allen's cousin, Keenan Lowe, did a great job again leading those young guys. Devin Allen hasn't played very much football. Obviously, Charles, Royce, all of our young skill guys. Darren Carrington, Dwayne Stanford is really a new guy in terms of true experience, and that was a huge deal this week with their pressure is being in rhythm, being on time, and so much of that. There's a lot of that's protection, and then a ton of that's route depth, route angle, all that. How those things all fit together, and so they did a great job. And Devin obviously looked like he was. Broke a few times. That was a huge play.
Mark, I know you've grown weary of the questions about physical teams and can Oregon hold up against one. Do you feel like that you've vindicated yourself and your program here?
The only thing that matters to me is if Ted Miller thinks we've vindicated ourselves. No, I mean, again, we think we're physical. Our style of play is different, and I love our team. I love our guys, and we believe very strongly in what we do. Again, but we got to keep playing. There's a ton of ball left.
Will you be happy to put that line of questioning to bed maybe for a while?
I'm sure it'll come up again at some point, and that's fine.
Nice.
We like it when you're here.
When Andre goes down, the running game hadn't found much traction at that point as it was, and then Tyrell comes in. It seems like he and Royce were able to kind of find some traction coming in around the right side with the true freshmen in that position. I mean, what did you see out of those two guys?
They competed really well, along with a bunch of other guys, and I don't want it to be misconstrued at all that Andre being out led to better production, because that wasn't the case, and I can understand your line of logic, but again, it was just a bunch of guys competing, and Marcus making a couple Marcus-like plays, and playing off of each other in special teams on defense getting just a bunch of huge stops and flipping the field.
Today was the biggest win as the head coach. How personally validated?
I won't look at things like that ever. I'm very proud of our staff and our team for how they played, how they stood up early and took a couple of haymakers and kept playing. Very proud of that.
Coach, how would you describe Armstead's play, and have you seen him have more impact in a game before?
Again, Eric Armstead's really grown up and learned how to train, learned how to strain. And we challenged him a little bit. Sometimes that was against, I don't want to say lesser opponents, but in lesser challenging situations, he was at his best. And again, I thought he along with many other guys really stood up against, again, an outstanding offensive line, a veteran offensive line, a great quarterback, a bunch of tough big tailbacks, and those guys really turned the tide in the second half.
AJ, Coach,
how many times have I used that?
Boisterous at times today. Were there any times during the game where you felt that they really helped you out?
Did you say the crowd was really boisterous?
Yeah.
No, I thought the crowd was awesome. I thought we were trying to. My goal there when we had kind of things flipping there in the third quarter was to get the punt return before Shout came out, and I thought we'd take. I said I wanted the punt return for a touchdown, and then Shout to come up, and the place would explode. But I thought the crowd was awesome, and we're sure, not that it was bad, but to get the students back will be great as well here in a couple weeks.
I want to talk to John Neal. John's in the back.
John Neal's available.
You said earlier in the week that a team like Stanford was able to out-execute you last November. What was the key maybe today to out-execute, quote-unquote, Michigan State?
Many factors. There's so many things that go into it. Like I was talking about their defense, it's in essence a boom or bust type deal. You're not going to grind out 6-yard gain, 6-yard gain, 6-yard gain. You have to earn every single inch and punt, or you have to take some shots. And our guys weathered that storm. It wasn't going to be a game that was going to be a 12-play drive for 72 yards. That just wasn't, how it was going to play out. In special teams, I thought we had some advantages that we exploited. And then defensively, I thought we just, again, did a great job of building the wall there in the second half.
A lot lot of times seem like Marcus is bigger physically. A lot of times they couldn't get him down when it looked like probably a lot of other guys would have been sacked. What area do you think he's the most improved in from last year?
The most improved in, I would say, still just leadership and command of the program. I mean, the guy just has so much credibility just by how he works, turning down what he turned down. You know, there's a lot of heads perk up, at least in terms of his credibility. And then the guy's just exceptional, right? I mean, he's great. And so, again, some of those plays he made today, you know, you're shaking your head on the sideline and phenomenal against a very good opponent. But at the same time, we see him do that all the time in practice. And it's a credit to him, a credit to the offensive line scrambling, and, you know, maybe one guy's free, but everybody else at least is still in a dogfight, and he gets some daylight and turns it into a huge play.
Warren? Mark, now that the week's over, can you share with us what your game plan was going in? It looked like you came out, you wanted to throw more than run. I think at halftime you had 14 yards on the ground.
That was not our game plan, to have 14 yards on the ground. We wanted 15. No, again, that's right. You guys can't see that, but I knocked a substantial panel down back here. I have to lift that up and show my girth. But no, I mean, it was, again, a combination of factors. That their defense doesn't, again, allow you to just grind it out, pound it, and you know, that's not necessarily what we're going to do. Steve Greatwood, ladies and gentlemen, great job by him. And we knew we were going to have to take some shots and make some plays, get on the perimeter a little bit. The first play, you know, it was kind of a run-pass deal that we dropped, you know, had a potential to be a huge play. And so we were equal opportunity. That's our game plan.
We're going one more question in the back. Remember, coach is available tomorrow, too. Not many people put up how many points you did on Michigan State's defense. What does that say about your offense?
Well, it says that our team was good tonight. You know, good tonight, and that's an exceptional team. And I mean, no disrespect to the rest of the Big Ten, but you know, I would imagine they're the odds-on favorite to win that conference. They're great in every phase, and it was a really good battle. You know, really good battle, and that's it. You know, that's it. It's not a statement. It's not whatever. We need to get ready for Game 3.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks.
See ya.